forward to the next one. And after that pick six, I was interested in how he was going to come out and play on that next drive. And to no surprise, he led the team right down the field, some big throws, made some big runs when he needed to, and got us a touchdown with A.J. Brown to really regain the lead there. And then after the interception that Tua had there, I thought that was a huge drive going down there and the big play to A.J. Brown. So, you know, Jalen, I think each week we get to see a different layer to his game, and they're not going to all be pretty. They're not going to all be pretty. Even the best quarterbacks that ever played the game have had to bounce back from a bad series or two. This kid has all the makings of what you want in a great quarterback.
Yeah, you talk about what happens after that pick six. He had 2 touchdown drives ensuing after that. So you had the touchdown drive that ended with the A.J. Brown, then Kenny Gainwell finishing it off. The Eagles win by 2 touchdowns in this game. And it really starts with how the Eagles responded, how Jalen Hurts responded after that pick six, which, look, at the end of the day, that was a little bit of a fluky play. The defense made a nice play in terms of having an answer for that RPO. They send 2 rushers at Jalen Hurts on that side.
Beautiful.
The ball gets,
Beautiful.
one guy's leg bounces up in the air, and a defensive
31-17 Eagles victory. Hurts threw for over 270 plus yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick. He probably wish he had that pick back, but it wasn't his fault because the ball was battered and picked and sprinted into the end zone for the score.
And especially the resilience he showed in those 2
defense
drives after the pick six.
Did well, did real well. You know what I'm saying?
Well, for me, I didn't
I can't complain about defense overall. I mean, defense shut down the Miami's run game. But start with the run game. You shut that down. You make the one-dimensional. Eagle made Tortula, whatever his name was, one-dimensional, and did a splendid job. I mean, did a splendid job.
To linger in the 2, 3, 4 bad games. Those
Hold on,
are the
just a minute.
quarterbacks to get ran out of this league. Is when the bad games continue to pile up. And the one thing about him, you know that he's so focused. You know what it was like for him in practice this week.
And
all the comparisons
here the scores here.
Brought up this week when facing Miami.
Yards 355, passing 256, rush 99, no penalties. Oh, that's the other thing. The Eagles had no penalties in this game for the first time. Also, the Eagles had no penalties in this game. This got to be a record. It got to be a record. No penalties in this game. None whatsoever. Eagles played a clean game. First time they played a clean game. First time.
Well, we know that early in the season, the Eagles were getting wins, but not everybody was satisfied with those wins. They weren't pretty wins. They weren't maybe convincing wins, if you will. How satisfied and content, you work in radio.
A.J. Brown, 10 receptions, 137 yards, average 13.71 score.
This was a real victory because of the opponent.
Of course, yes. I mean,
yeah. When you play a winning team versus winning team, it shows the competitive nature of 2 teams going at it for the win. And then the Eagles happen to be the victors of this game. We're officially 6-1. Now, our next game is against the Commanders in Washington. Which should be a win, but we'll see because Washington had beaten us before and had given us a loss. So we'll see how this game goes next Sunday.
I believe that fans will take from this is that the quality of the opponent. See, what tends to happen is when you're playing teams like New England early in the season, Washington, teams like that, the fans don't necessarily have a high opinion of. They want you to go out there and beat them as if it's Alabama playing Citadel or something, right? Like they think this is college football where you're just going to beat teams by 30 and 40 points. That doesn't happen in the NFL. You better come with your A game every week or that team across from you will still run from you. And at the end of the day, when that clock runs down, if you have more points than your opponent has, believe me, the players can sleep a lot easier at night. There's games that you lose 34-27, and he can throw for 400 yards. You think those players feel good?
And like I mentioned in the video that I made earlier when the game was going on, this is the first time the Eagles have put up 30 points. The first time in a long time.
I don't think anybody in that locker room from Miami feels that way.
They don't feel that way.
They don't feel that way in the visiting locker
yeah.
room right now as we sit here. So I think when you look at this, this team. You said it at the top, Marissa. This is a litmus test game on both sides. The Eagles going up against another 5-1 squad. What can you do against what has been the most explosive offense, not just in football this year, but if you look at the last decade?
The Eagles could, if the Eagles do get to the Super Bowl, instead of the Eagles playing Kansas City, he could want to play the Miami Dolphins Super Bowl. They could want to playing them. So you never know how games played, how games are won, how games are lost, and how they are played. You never know, because we are now damn near halfway during the season. We got to play 2 more games before our bye week: Washington and then Dallas and Philadelphia. Then we got the bye week.
From this defense, and something honestly, this is one that you point to 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks from now and say like that was the game where you felt like this defense can be really, really good, especially when they get healthy.
And to your point,
that's the other thing. Our defense was extremely healthy. We had Carter came back. Carter still command double team, still getting initial push. You got Davis with some. Oh, Davis got a half sack. He got 4. I think they got 5 sacks for the season, I believe. If I'm correct, he got 5 sacks. Wow. And then and Brandon Graham got a sack out of half for the first time in his game. They the first time him and Davis should have heard the sack, so he got a half sack for the season. So at least he's official on the scoreboard with a sack. Nice. Or a half sack, rather.
Right. I know you get tired talking to us all the time, but I want to go back to the Eagles' offense real quickly because they were in a similar.
But I will say this:
week as they were
victory!
But the pass game got lit up. What was
31-17. Eagles win.
Balanced offense too. You know, you look at the time of possession. And the Eagles, I think, held the ball close to 37 minutes.
Yep.
37 minutes. Held the ball for a long time. Long drives.
Dolphins offense, you want to be able to possess the football. So you saw them come out trying to establish the running game. They tried to establish the running game, mixed in some passes when they saw the opportunity, and then took their shots when they needed to.
Hit it.
But you could tell that this was more of an offensive game plan that was going to be a little more balanced.
Sorry, I had to try to
I love that. I really
do something with my tablet. Watching the tablet with the game on, so I'm watching the highlights of what the Eagles commentators talk about the game. If you don't hear it, I'm letting you guys know.
Davis, Sweat. I mean, Hassan Reddick. Almost looks like he's shot out of the cannon every time he's rushing the passer.
Also, tomorrow I will be bringing you guys the stats for today's game. Last week I didn't bring no stats because the game was a very disappointing loss, so there was no need for any pronouncing of any stats. But I will be bringing stats tomorrow. That is for sure. It was a victory.
Good young rusher in Jalen Phillips, but certainly got the job done and was able to keep Jalen Hurts clean more often than not. And to Ike's point, looking over on the other side of the ball, defensively, I thought the guys on the edge for the Eagles defense. You look at Hassan Reddick and Josh Sweat. Sweat had 2 sacks in this game. Reddick had 2 or 3 tackles for loss in the run game. Some of them, there was one that was -5. There was another one that was -3. You can basically jot those down as sacks because what they did to the Dolphins on those early downs, getting them behind the sticks early on in those possessions, that really played in the Eagles' favor because when it's 3rd and 18, when it's 3rd and 14, you take the play action, the misdirection, the eye candy, all that motion that we talked about. Throw that out the window when it's 3rd and 18 because all that stuff does not matter as much. Now, if you're the Eagles defense, you can play your coverage and worry about your keys and get the job done. So I think you give a lot of credit, certainly to the guys up front. But I'm excited to go through the film tomorrow because I really want to see what the nuts and bolts were of some of these coverage schemes. We'll get a little bit into that here throughout the show. But I thought the Eagles did a really good job of making things difficult for Tua in this game.
Yeah, you pointed out while we were watching the game that the Eagles were showing so many different looks just to get to a thinking of just.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video right quick, but letting you guys know out there, we got this victory. 31-17, Eagles win. Hurts over 270-some yards, passing two touchdowns, 1 score, and he also had 2 on the ground, which I forgot to mention. And the defense had some sacks. and one interception that was would take one takeaway by interception by what's his name by Big Play Slay, who had one interception in the game, which is his second this is his second interception this season, his second pick. So it could come at the right time because he got it and ran it for a few yards up the field for the score, and the Eagles did something with the Eagles finally did something with the interception. They wound up getting down and score for a touchdown, even though they were long drives to get there. They scored a touchdown with his INT. Can't be no better than that.
He's got eyes on the quarterback. So they're watching Tua, and they say, hey,
so here we go right here.
We know that Tua thinks he's got man coverage here. That's been our identity. He's trying to find Berrios in the soft spot of this zone coverage, but it's not going to be there. And watch how Slay and Ricks really converge on that gap in the zone coverage. They take the throw away.
That's what they did.
Incomplete.
All right, y'all. All right, guys. Don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe. Don't forget to smash the likes, and then let me know what you guys think about today's victory. Wow, I mean, I am completely amazed at what I've seen in this Miami game in the second half. The first half wasn't all that good. The second half, and when they stepped it up defensively, offensively, special teams, and coaching, finally did a good job. So, I really don't know what to say. I don't know if Brian Johnson still is a situation with the play calling, but we know Sean Desai did real extraordinary good with the defense. So there's no question mark about Sean Desai. All the question is about Brian Johnson and the play calling, which we will be getting into later on in the week about him. So enjoy your victory, guys. Enjoy your victory, guys. I'm going to enjoy mine. As a matter of fact, I'm going to sleep good tonight because we have beaten a winning team, Miami Dolphins. They're officially 5-2, and we are 6-1, and that's the way it needs to be. And then we're still a game over the Dallas Cowboys. 3 games. I think we did 2 or 3 games over the Washington Commanders, and we are so many games ahead of the New York Giants. And I ain't gonna have to talk about it. So, good night, y'all. I'm out of here, and see you guys tomorrow with tomorrow's stats. Out of here.